Welcome to a night of chilling tales, right here on ThrillSpots, where the relentless rain serves as the ominous backdrop to stories that will haunt your very soul. Prepare to be drenched in fear as we present 5 scary stories told in the rain. As the rain beats down relentlessly, it awakens the horrors that lurk in the shadows, and tonight, they demand to be heard. So, fellow thrill seekers, gather around, but beware. For in the downpour's eerie cadence, the boundary between the living and the dead blurs, and the nightmares of the past come to life. Are you ready to face the terror that awaits? Brace yourselves, for these stories will leave you drenched in a cold sweat, your heart pounding, and your mind forever scarred. Let the rain reveal what lurks in the depths of your darkest nightmares, right here on ThrillSpots. As the chilling rain began to fall from the ink-black sky, I felt a shiver crawl down my spine. I was alone, stranded in the middle of a desolate forest, with only the eerie whisper of the raindrops for company. Every drop seemed to carry a malevolent presence, a sinister secret hidden within its translucent core. The trees around me swayed ominously, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers as if trying to pluck me from the soaked earth. Thunder rumbled in the distance, its growl echoing through the woods, drowning out the sound of my racing heart. I stumbled forward, my footsteps squelching in the mud, each step taking me deeper into the heart of darkness. The rain grew heavier, the droplets morphing into icy needles that pierced my skin. I pulled my drenched coat tighter around me, but it offered no solace from the bone-chilling cold that seeped into my very soul. As I trudged on, I began to hear whispers in the rain, whispers that were not the product of my imagination, sinister, seductive voices that beckoned me further into the abyss. They promised secrets and forbidden knowledge, but I dared not listen, for I knew the price of their temptation. Lightning illuminated the forest, revealing a twisted, shadowy figure in the distance. It moved with unnatural grace, its eyes gleaming with malevolence. Panic gripped me, and I ran, the rain-soaked ground slipping beneath my feet, but the figure pursued, gaining ground with each passing moment. My breath came in ragged gasps as I sprinted through the labyrinthine forest, but I couldn't escape the relentless downpour or the relentless pursuit. The rain had become a torrential nightmare, washing away all hope, drowning me in fear. In the end, as I stumbled and fell to the ground, the rain and the figure converged upon me, their darkness consuming my very essence. I awoke, drenched in sweat, but the memory of that rain-soaked nightmare still clung to me, haunting my dreams with its spine-tingling terror. Even now, as I write this, the sound of rain against my window pane sends a shiver down my spine, for I know that somewhere, in the darkest corners of the world, that rain still falls, carrying with it the secrets of the abyss and the whispers of the damned. The rain came down in sheets, a relentless downpour that seemed to be at odds with the world. I found myself standing at the edge of an ancient cemetery, the gravestones standing sentinel in the deluge, their inscriptions worn away by centuries of rain and time. The air was thick with the scent of wet earth and decay, and the sound of raindrops tapping on the gravestones created an eerie, almost hypnotic rhythm. It was as if the rain itself mourned the souls that lay beneath the earth. As I walked deeper into the cemetery, the rain intensified, turning the ground into a quagmire that clung to my boots with each step. The tombstones seemed to lean in closer, their shapes distorted by the rain and the fading light. I heard whispers in the rain, soft and ghostly, like the voices of the departed. They spoke of regrets, of lives left unfinished, and of a hunger for something beyond the grave. I couldn't discern the words, but their melancholic tone sent shivers down my spine. In the center of the cemetery, I came upon a mausoleum, its stone door slightly ajar. Curiosity overcame my fear, and I pushed the door open. Inside, the air was cold and musty, and the flickering light of a lone candle revealed rows of coffins stacked one atop the other. As I stepped closer, a figure emerged from the shadows, It was a spectral figure, clad in tattered funeral attire, its face obscured by a veil. The figure beckoned to me with a bony finger, and I felt an irresistible compulsion to follow. We descended deeper into the crypt, and the whispers in the rain grew louder, more insistent. They told of a curse that bound the souls of the departed to this forsaken place, a curse that hungered for the living. The figure led me to a sarcophagus and gestured for me to open it. Inside, I found a mirror, its surface cracked and cloudy. When I looked into it, I saw not my own reflection, but the faces of the restless spirits that surrounded me. They clawed at the glass, their eyes filled with despair and longing. The figure revealed itself to be the guardian of the mirror, a spectral warden tasked with protecting the cursed souls from escaping their eternal torment. It offered me a choice, to leave the mirror be and flee, or to break the curse by shattering the mirror, but at the cost of my own soul. With a heavy heart, I made my decision, and as I smashed the mirror, the rain outside ceased, and the cemetery fell silent. The souls were finally free, and the curse was broken, but at a price that I would carry with me forever. To this day, when the rain falls in torrents, I can't help but remember that fateful night in the haunted cemetery, where the whispers of the departed still echo in the storm. The rain fell in torrents, a malevolent deluge that seemed to wash away all reason and sanity. I stood at the edge of a forsaken graveyard, the tombstones rising like jagged teeth from the sodden earth. The night was thick with an otherworldly darkness, and the sound of the rain was a maddening cacophony. The gravestones were weathered and worn, their inscriptions barely legible, as if the rain itself had tried to erase the names of the departed. Each step I took through the muck was a battle against the sinking ground, as if the very earth itself sought to drag me into its cold, wet embrace. As I ventured deeper into the cemetery, I could hear the whispering rain. It murmured secrets of forgotten sorrows and unspeakable horrors, a chorus of voices that echoed from the depths of the tombstones. The voices spoke of souls trapped in a purgatorial torment, yearning for release. In the heart of the graveyard, I discovered a crypt, its stone door ajar, beckoning me like a gaping maw. I hesitated, but an unrelenting curiosity pushed me forward. Inside, the air was dank and chill, and the flickering candlelight revealed a chamber filled with coffins. From the shadows, a figure emerged, clad in tattered burial robes, its face concealed by a hood. It gestured for me to follow, and I felt a strange compulsion to obey. We descended into the depths of the crypt, and the whispers in the rain grew more urgent, more haunting. They spoke of a curse that bound the souls to this accursed place, a curse that yearned for the living to join their wretched ranks. The figure led me to a stone altar, upon which rested a tarnished amulet. It bore a symbol of ancient power, and the figure explained that it could break the curse, but only at a terrible cost. I made my choice, and as I touched the amulet, the rain outside ceased, and an eerie silence fell upon the graveyard. The souls of the departed were set free, but the curse exacted its toll. I felt a cold, gnawing emptiness within me, as if a part of my own soul had been claimed by the darkness. I left the crypt, haunted by the memory of that night, the sound of rain forever a reminder of the choice I had made. The rain continued to fall, but now it carried with it the whispers of the freed souls, their voices a mournful chorus that followed me wherever I went, a reminder of the price of breaking the curse. The rain was a relentless nightmare, pouring from the heavens like tears of a vengeful god. I found myself trapped in an old, decaying lighthouse, perched on the edge of a desolate, storm-racked cliff. The waves outside crashed against the rocks with a deafening roar, as if the sea itself sought to devour the land. The lighthouse was a spectral relic, its once white walls now faded to a sickly gray, and its windows shattered, allowing the rain to penetrate the very heart of the tower. The wind howled through the cracks, creating an eerie, mournful symphony that seemed to echo with the voices of the damned. As I ascended the narrow, spiraling staircase, the rain pounded on the roof like a relentless drumbeat, a chilling accompaniment to my footsteps. Each creak of the stairs seemed to be an anguished cry from the lighthouse itself, a silent plea for release from its haunted existence. The beam of the long-abandoned lantern room swung erratically, casting eerie shadows on the waterlogged walls. In that ghostly light, I saw something move, a flicker of movement at the edge of my vision. I turned, but there was nothing there, only the rain-soaked darkness. The whispers in the rain began, soft and sinister, like the voices of the lost souls who had perished in the treacherous waters below. They spoke of shipwrecks and drowned sailors, of curses and forgotten oaths. Their words sent a shiver down my spine, as if the very air had grown colder. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated the room, revealing a figure standing before me, dripping wet and pallid as death. It was a lighthouse keeper, or what remained of him, his eyes hollow and vacant, his flesh withered and decayed. He reached out a skeletal hand, beckoning me closer. With dread coiling in my chest, I approached the keeper, who whispered a name from a long-forgotten ship's log. The name of a vessel lost to the unforgiving sea, its crew consigned to a watery grave. The keeper's bony finger pointed to a rusted lever. I knew what I had to do. With a trembling hand, I pulled the lever, and the lighthouse's long extinguished beacon burst to life, piercing the stormy night with a brilliant, blinding light. The keeper let out a mournful wail as he faded into the darkness, his curse finally broken. The relentless downpour showed no mercy. Each raindrop that fell was like a mournful lament from the heavens, as if the very sky wept for the horrors it had witnessed. I stood alone in the heart of an abandoned, decrepit mansion that seemed to cower under the wrath of the storm. The walls of the mansion were covered in peeling wallpaper, their faded patterns twisted into grotesque shapes by the dampness. The creaking floorboards beneath my feet seemed to sigh in agony with every step I took. I had sought shelter here, but it was a refuge that whispered tales of long-forgotten anguish. As I wandered deeper into the mansion's labyrinthine halls, I could hear faint, ghostly whispers carried by the wind that slipped through the broken windows. They spoke of tragedy, of lost souls trapped in a never-ending nightmare. The rain outside seemed to echo their mournful cries. In a room obscured by darkness, I stumbled upon an old, dusty mirror. It was cracked and tarnished, but in its fractured surface, I saw the reflection of a figure standing behind me. My heart froze as I turned, but there was no one there. The figure in the mirror grinned maliciously, its eyes devoid of any humanity. I fled from the room, but the mansion seemed to shift around me, its corridors leading me in circles. I was trapped, and the rain outside had intensified into a torrential deluge, drowning out my cries for help. In my frantic search for an escape, I stumbled upon a hidden chamber deep within the mansion. The walls were adorned with macabre paintings of faces twisted in agony, and in the center of the room, a desiccated corpse lay upon a decaying bed. And it was the corpse of the mansion's former occupant, and the room reeked of death and decay. As I turned to leave, I heard a voice, soft and sinister, coming from the corpse. It whispered dreadful secrets, ancient incantations that promised power beyond imagination. But with that promise came a horrifying price, a pact with darkness that could never be undone. Terrified and tormented, I fled the mansion, leaving the rain-soaked nightmare behind. But the memory of that dreadful night haunted my every waking moment, and the sound of rain became a reminder of the horrors that lurked in the shadows, waiting to claim their next victim. And there you have it, fellow thrill seekers. 5 scary stories told in the rain, right here on ThrillSpots. We hope you enjoyed this bone-chilling journey through the darkest corners of your imagination. If you found yourself drenched in fear, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling adventures. And remember, when the rain falls, it may just bring forth the most terrifying tales. Until next time, stay dry, stay safe, and stay thrilled. Good night.